Yeah, the phone.
the gadget for me
Yeah,
to
just
appear
turn it
properly
around.
in
Turn it
your.
around.
I
Turn it
must put
around.
it in landscape.
Yeah, in landscape, please.
But I landscape it like this.
Yeah, and then put it on. Change the settings on
Okay,
landscape.
right.
Yeah,
Is
then you.
the lighting enough?
The lighting is fine. It's just that the landscape is not. It's not on landscape, but you've turned it to be on landscape, but you haven't changed the setting.
Oh, I must change the setting to
Yeah,
landscape.
just put
Okay,
yeah.
great.
If you get just the pull down controls, yes. At the top, it should
Yeah,
show portrait from portrait to landscape.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to do that, Eddie.
Yeah.
Eh, okay, all right.
Very
Looks like
good.
I'm better.
That's definitely much better, of course.
Okay.
We are already on recording, and yeah, my name is Eddie Bila, and right now we're speaking to Mr. Joe Mahomole, former president of the Interim Executive Board of Chess South Africa, and obviously former president of Chess Limpopo, currently serving a second time as president of Capricorn Chess Regional Federation in Limpopo. And now a candidate of, Secretary, Chess South Africa Secretary, Mr. Mahomole. Welcome. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for having me, and good morning to all your viewers.
Great. No, it's great to be speaking to you. Obviously, in light of the upcoming elections, that'll be very interesting to get your views in whether the candidates or the elections itself, even the state of chess in the country. I think that's something that I've always wanted to speak to you about. But right now, let's start with, because again, you had an interest in responding to some of the things that we were spoken by Mr. Vicky Magu with regards to you and the upcoming elections, and obviously, yeah, you had some responses. If you don't mind, your hand is, yeah, it's covering a bit of space in the yeah, now it's clear. It's fine. Okay, the platform is yours, Mr. Mohammed. So,
Okay, I'm
if I may
fine.
assist, I don't know if I should assist because I remember, I can actually remember one or two things which were said by Mr. Magu. I think the one of the two things was that I actually remember. If you remember more, you can say. He stated the fact that you were nominated by the Eastern Cape, I believe, the Eastern Cape province. I just don't have this next to me. And he stated that just because you were not nominated by your province, that you do not have the support of your province in the upcoming elections of Limpopo. What do you have to say about that? And I remember that you were not the only one from Limpopo that's nominated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Eddie. Uh, but I wanted to approach it this way. I'm going to respond to this question, but I wanted to give some information which everybody must know, and then use that information to respond to whatever questions or discussions or debates that are taking place. Because we must be in the era where we are not easily misled, but then we use information to answer
Yes.
and see the picture. Right, to be direct on that question, which I'll come back to it later with more information, is that Vicky's assertion is actually very wrong. For an example, there are two candidates who are from Limpopo. Is Jeanette Mavisela and myself.
Yes.
Both of us are not nominated by our province.
Okay.
Jeanette is nominated by KZN.
Hmm.
I am nominated by Eastern Cape.
Okay.
By that alone, you will then know that both of us don't support. If you were to use that assertion,
Oh.
both of us do not support,
Oh, enjoy the support of your
we
province.
enjoy the support of our province.
Yes.
If you were to use that interpretation,
That's the
that
yes.
information.
Yeah.
But then Vicky himself says Joe does not enjoy the support of his province, but Jeanette enjoys the support of his province. Where does he get it? Because from the nominations themselves,
Uh,
that you cannot get it.
from the nominations
Unless
themselves. it looks like both candidates don't have the support of their province. Yeah.
Exactly. That is exactly my interpretation of the nomination. But
Um.
Vicky says something contrary. He separates the two of us,
Or he
that
singles
I'm
you
not
out.
enjoying the support of my province, but Jeanette is enjoying the support of her province. You can only say that if you have inside information. And then maybe he does, I don't know. Maybe he has inside information because where does he get that interpretation? Because the only
Because
interpretation from the information can only be that the two candidates are not nominated by their own province and therefore maybe, but you cannot say with certainty. You
that
can only
one
say
of them is.
maybe they do not enjoy the support of their province. But as far as I know,
Unless you're speaking for
I
the
enjoy
province
the
on behalf
support
of the
of my
province.
province.
Mm.
Yeah, as far as I know, I enjoy the support of my province.
Yes, of course. Okay, so all right. So that's the one part. I'm sure the response is clear. So because again, if you yeah, by interpretation, I think we can't be certain of his of Mr. Magu's interpretation of things, unless obviously again you state that unless he has some inside info, or unless he speaks for the province, or he's in the ear of one of the leaders or somewhere. But anyway, so the second part, I think the one thing that he had mentioned was that to come from being a president of Chess South Africa and now to obviously be a candidate for secretary, it seems like yeah, I don't know. I would actually very much like to hear your view on that. So it says it seems like a downgrade. So maybe that is to say, in his view, you should be a presidential candidate instead
Well,
of a yeah.
well, Eddie, it depends on what do you want.
Mm,
It depends on what do you want. If you look at the business sector, if they want solid and strategically working company, they look for experienced people, right? And use them to mentor the young ones because you know those with experience will not only talk about what they think, they also talk about what they lived.
mm,
So, and if you were to move from that point, you will then know that for me it's not a downgrade. It's for me. If I knew it was a downgrade, I would not accept the nomination.
uh,
I understood it to mean, Joe, we need your experience
mm,
so that we can build a united chess South Africa. And for your information, Eddie, I have engaged a lot of the current executive members offering help
mm,
on so many things, even conceptualizing the tournament called Mzansi. And then we are perfecting the tournament as we move forward, including
yes,
even the other policies and so on and so on. I give my best, I assist them, even with the ideas currently, I do assist, which means they definitely need my being there. Have you, Eddie, have you checked the elections in Kenya? They are taking place a week after our elections on the 28th of February. There are two teams. There's Team Promise and there is Team Change. In the Team Promise, it consists of people who, the current president is not going to stand.
yeah,
Uh, but the current president was requested to stand as treasurer to strengthen the Team Promise because they know all the changes that happened in Kenya. It was through Bernard Wanjala, which I respect so much. Unfortunately, his term of office, in terms of their constitution, is not allowing him to come back as a president. And Wanjala has served at even at the international level, at FIDE level. So, but they said they need him as part of the team. I think the purpose is to one, for institutional memory and share the expertise with those who are there, play the role of mentoring and
now, let's talk.
orientating the new ones,
Let's
especially
talk.
in that
Let's
role.
talk a little bit,
So,
Mr. Mahomole, about institutional memory. I think that is something. Very fundamental in terms of the continuation of a structure or even an institution like Chess South Africa. Are we? Because I don't know. Firstly, the importance of institutional memory in a structure like Chess South Africa. Could you just elaborate a bit on that?
Look, Chess South Africa, for any organization,
Mm.
you really need people who have been there in the organization. And then you also need people who come with innovation,
Yes.
right? When
Yes.
you blend the two, then you know you have a winning combination. Because the danger of only having novices or new people only in the organization, you're running the risk of wasting time on recreating the wheel, something which is there,
Mm.
and do the same blunders that were done in the past. But if you have somebody with institutional memory, you are able to get caution. This was tried and it never worked. Maybe let me use Eddie as as an analogy of a chess game and life and administration in general.
Mm.
In chess as a game, all the moves we are playing today, they have been played many times in the past.
Before.
They have been played. There is nothing new we're playing. We are just playing what was played before. But we still lose
Exactly.
and win. We still lose and win. What
Yes.
differentiates between those who win and those who lose? Majority of those who lose are those who are not trained, they are not reading, they are new in the game, they are excited about what they want to do, they think is new, which is never new, and they make the same blunder which was done before. In Chess South Africa, is the same. Many of the things we are trying to recreate and do this and do, some of the things have been tried before. They worked, some did not work. Institutional memory will shepherd you in the right direction to avoid what never worked and use what worked and create new ones. That is
Yes.
how we should look at any organization when we move forward, like Chess South Africa.
Yeah. So anything new
So,
created is an improvement of what of the old, of how the old needed to be changed or needed to be improved. Not brand new as in starting from scratch. Yes. Because no one ever
exactly.
has that
Well, of
time,
course,
right?
yes, but of course, Eddie, I agree with the fact that some of the things will be created anew, or will be created as a new. For an example, the offerings which Chess South Africa can have, what their focus will be, and so on. Avoid all what never worked before. The one thing that never worked before, which I can emphasize, it's having an expo that does not gel together.
Mm.
At least we don't expect 100% to gel together, but we expect at least 70 to 80% of people who are in the expo who work together.
Willing to work
Why
together.
don't we always, and it has been a trend with Chess South Africa for as long as I remember, because when we go to elections, we focus on a group or called friends or so. We leave out people who can bring a lot of what Chess South Africa requires to stabilize and focus what is best. For an example, from time immemorial, as far as Chess South Africa is concerned,
Yeah.
the theory and the view is that your major provinces must dominate the administration of chess.
Mm.
What are your major provinces? In the main, if you do that, if you assess that in terms of number of players,
You look at Gauteng, you
you will
look
then
at
think of
Western Cape.
Western Cape and your Gauteng.
Yeah.
And then you will go to you will go to KZN and then Northwest now. But in the past, Free State was in the mix. But
Mm.
as things change, Free State now is no longer in the mix. So with that dominance, now emerges arrogance, where you think all small provinces are nothing. You don't have to listen to anything from them. We personally. And with the team that we tried in the past, we made sure that that arrogance does not hold water because all provinces, your Northern Cape, your Limpopo, your Mpumalanga, your any other one that I didn't mention, we are equal members in Chess South Africa, which must have equal share of participation in terms of projects, in terms of activities, in terms of decision making. And there are brilliant minds in all these organizations. Instead of focusing on these brilliant minds, we do machinations to exclude and leave others out. We end up with an expo which is made up of friends who cannot call each other out. What happens in the process? When they try to call each other out, they fight
Yes,
because you are not genuine from the beginning.
yes,
So that
yes.
is why personally I'm calling for profile of people who are nominated, and then look at what are they bringing to Chess South Africa. Analyze them from
Yes.
that point, and as people who are going to elect, move away from the so-called slates or groups of people who want to purpose Chess South Africa for what it should not. And then in the process, they are unable to deal with disagreements in the expo, which then delays the development in South Africa. So I would, Eddie, I would propose if you can, if you have time, we can have 2 or 3 parts of my interview. First, I want to profile the individuals who are nominated.
Yes.
And secondly, look at what are the trends. And thirdly, what could be the best option which the electorates can look at. Now, the last part, the best option, it doesn't have to be done by me. It has to be done by people who are going to elect and look at, okay, from this mix of people, this is the profile of so and so, this is the profile of so and so.
But
What do we want as Chess of Africa?
you
We
have a
want this
point,
kind
Mr.
of things.
Mahomole, but it
And then
seems
these are the people who will pick.
you have a very key point, a very crucial point. But the issue right now is that it appears as if it's not the general public. I mean, it appears as if the general chess community will not have much of a say in terms of who is voted for our obviously executive, because none of us have been were consulted. I'm sure you've also seen the reaction from many provinces, from many regions in other provinces that were saying we did not get consulted regarding the nomination from our province. We're not aware that our province has nominated a certain person. We're not even aware that our person from our province is nominated for any. So now, why would we expect that they'll be consulted in terms of who to vote for? Because it's not like things are done in the same way that they were done previously when we were voting for this current executive board, where at least regions were consulted and they mandated their provincial leaders or their provincial delegates to vote for a particular individual for a certain position. So how now will it matter if we can obviously assess or analyze or obviously look at the CVs of the nominees and see if they are suitable for the positions? Because it seems as if those are only going to be sent to particular individuals in the provinces, and they'll be influenced to vote for their peers or their friends, and so in many ways. What do you have to say about that? Are you?
No, you definitely have a point. It's like the train. In some legal terms, they say the horse has bolted, meaning now some things have happened, like the issue of nominations. They have happened in terms of the constitution, but those who were driving the nominations
Yes.
didn't involve those who were supposed to be involved, but in some, not in all areas, but in other areas they involved. I don't know. I cannot speak for other areas.
Can you speak for your province?
Then, which means the nominations that are there now, if we were to follow the constitution, you can't change them now. You can only use what you
Yes.
have, or you can postpone the elections for something else. But then postponement is not an option.
Anyway.
Right, use what you have and build. That is why we're saying once you get a team whose intention is to make sure that everybody is involved as the constitution requires. One of the things you do as the leadership, once you are in office, then you develop how do you empower people to be active in their structure. I can see somewhere parents are complaining, somewhere members of expo are complaining, somewhere this is complaining, that one is complaining. But you will then say, as a parent, I should not be complaining bitterly as I'm doing currently, because I guess some of these parents are members of clubs. If you are a member of a club, it's by design of the constitution that you will participate at your level at a club and ensure that you influence the club for the activities of the club, including because the clubs form a council for a region. So you have the right to talk there and influence, including talking about national and provincial elections and regional elections. But these parents are out of that structure. And who puts them out is themselves. I can say that. Because you can't want to change a system if you are not part of it. How do you do it? You can only depend on somebody who does it for you. But you have an opportunity because you are there as a member of a club. You have a child who is playing chess. The child, you can take your child to a club, you can influence that. There are elections in the country now, in provinces and regions. These parents should take part there to influence the processes, be
No,
inside the
on the matter
system
of the province,
to make
I'm
sure that things
I'm so sorry, Mr. Mahomole, because I feel like I think I've also made that point before, and you've also made that point in the previous video. I think in the previous discussion that we've had, or conversation that we've had. But the thing is, I feel like even though we can obviously put it on the parents and say that they're the ones who are putting themselves out, I feel like there's some responsibility to also be given to Chess South Africa, because if we say South Africa does not deal with parents, or even the province doesn't deal with, why then are they accepting money directly from parents? Because then now it causes the confusion again. You see that? Because then if then that's the case, then if a player is to be paid for any South Africa event, it must be through the club, and then through the club through the to the region, instead of directly from the parent. Because once now they accept the money directly from the parents, they are now accepting that there's a relationship between them and the parent.
yeah, remember, Eddie, by design of the Constitution of Chess South Africa, we have a national body, which is in the main, its day-to-day running are done by executive board that we are going to elect.
Yes.
And then, but then you have a built-in system where the provinces are the second tier. And those provinces are actually members of Chess South Africa at national level, sitting as being a council, either sitting as AGM, OGM, or SGM, so that as members, they then influence decisions. And then they work with the Xbox to ensure that the resolutions of council in the form of AGM, OGM, or SGM are actually implemented by Expo. But if that link and the knowledge and the training is not given, everybody will miss the mark. So you are right to say Chess South Africa receives the money from the parents. They have a responsibility to give them service. Yes, they are giving them service, but how service is given and how, whether the people are happy or not happy, that process, in order to mediate and make sure that it happens well, fix the interaction. Train those you interact with so that all of you have the same understanding of each other's roles so that you don't miss the mark. And then look, the province as the second tier has regions as its members, forming a council. Either that council is going to sit in a meeting called AGM, or OGM. OGM is ordinary general meeting or special general meeting. All those meetings are meant to discuss the policies, the decisions, and so on of the same council. And a regional council, its council is made up of clubs. You can see where everybody fits in. A club is where people play chess, including children. They play chess, and the parents are allowed to be members there. So everybody is allowed to be part of this system. The only thing is training each other so that we don't miss each other in terms of roles and responsibilities and decision making. That is why I'm saying with all I'm prepared to offer, because now I have enough time to do it. I'm not working part-time. The other problem that wrecks the organization is that majority of members are actually working elsewhere. They do part-time for chess.
Oh, yes.
Personally, I was in that position, but now I'm no longer working for anyone. I'm available. That process of teaching and consolidating the constitution and roles and responsibilities throughout all structures, including the teaching and the orientation. As the General Secretary, I may have enough time to do that. But of course, if people who elect me, if they really need that to happen. And then, but it's not only the General Secretary who will make things happen, it's the entire team.
Of course.
The entire team. Yeah, it's the entire team, starting with the president and going down to all other members. And then I don't think this continual standoff between the parents and the Expo and Chess South Africa as a whole is really necessary. It is not. But it emerges because there is a missing link, and that link must be closed. And then we can close it and close it well.
And I wanna say somehow that the role of the general secretary has been very much lacking as of recent. I'm speaking from memory again. You've got institutional memory. I don't know if you can just have an input on this, because my view previously was that for international trips, I remember for when we were sending players outside of the country, it wasn't always that we were engaging with the the delegate, the head of the delegation. It would be through the general secretary of Chess South Africa, because I remember correctly, many documents had to be sent to the general secretary. The payments updates had to be done through the general secretary. I'm again remembering when the late Mrs. Marcel Aguilas was a secretary. I would at that moment I actually believed that there was an actual head office for Chess South Africa, where there was someone who was working full time there, because of the number of calls that we will get from her for reminder to make payments, reminder to send certain documents, reminder for this and that and so forth, on the emails that she kept on sending every now and then. It just felt like it was a well-oiled machine that was obviously that's Chess South Africa. I, because of the general secretary and the role that she was playing, that being the link between the parents, the coaches, and again. So I don't know if anything has changed in how the sending out of a delegation to other events happens, or has it always been done in that way? What has changed according to your recollection? Mm.
Remember, Eddie, how people function in a role partly depends on uh, who leads them.
Yes.
If I offer you an opportunity to express yourself in your position and show you, if you are elected as a new person, and then we orientate you, because the first law that you use to orientate people is the constitution of that organization. In our case, it's Chess South Africa. There are clearly cut roles of people. If they are not there, then you develop systems. During the time of Agalas, the late mayor, soul rest in peace, and a Listian camp, if I recall well, those were the two secretaries who were very powerful. They knew where their roles are. They could not be used for anything else except what they are supposed to do. They will express their opinions. They will then focus on what has to be done by them. and then leave what has to be done by the president to the president, what has to be done by the treasurer to the treasurer, and so on and so on. You see, and then because I had the privilege to serve in some of these committees, either as a committee member or as a member of the executive committee in another role, if you were to treat into their area, they will then indicate, but this is supposed to be done by me. But if you want to do it as another person, tell me if I should not do it. And then later on, you should not blame me if things are not done.
Yeah.
And then, and you know, in government circles, if you want me to do something that it is untoward and is not in my role, if I stand my ground, I will tell you, look, because you are my superior, you are giving me instruction to do something which I should not do, and I know very well I should not do this. Give it to me in writing. Give
Yes,
me
yeah.
that instruction in writing, I will do it. Once you give it to me in writing, I will do it. Because when people say, why do you do it? I said, my superior said I must do it. And then here's proof.
And yes,
And
yeah.
then that tactic from Melisian Camp and Marcel Agala made sure that whoever was leading them was actually very scared to treat and cause them to do what they are not
That's supposed to be doing.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
And in as a result or as a consequence of that, then you have a better administration because you have everybody focusing on that. The secretary cannot go there and begin to negotiate deals and so on. That's not the role of the secretary. The secretary can support the president to do those, right? And then I think that sense of the role that was played by those two ladies, fortunately, and needs to be revived to strengthen Chess South Africa.
Yeah.
But Eddie, I know I may be lecturing to people who are really converted. They know what they're supposed to do, but they're actually not doing it for other purposes. But then for these elections, elections are a process of regularizing the leadership. So we have to go through it. Whether
Yeah.
you like it or not, you have to go through it. Whether it was done properly or not properly, we have to go through it.
Yeah, but the key
But
thing
all I'm
is to
saying
make
is
sure that
that
the general public is aware of how things are meant to be done, are supposed to be done, and then obviously compare it to how they are being done in contrast. And then now at least we'll have a public that, because again, we want the constituents to also be, yeah, aware of things, to
to
be
be.
as smart as the,
But you are right, Eddie.
yeah.
Tell me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much time is left, but I wanted to give you something which brings the information and the trend. For an example, have you observed the Eddie? Have you looked at the list of nominees very well? If you look at this is the information I'm giving, but if you are not, if you are going to give me another part to continue my discussion, I'm going to extend it. The first part is look at the nominees.
Yes.
The nominees, if you look at how who is nominated
And who they're
and
nominated by.
by whom,
Yes.
you simply see one trend that there is two, maybe
Factions.
for lack of better words, there are two slates. There is, I will
Yes.
call them the Eastern Cape slate and KZN slate. These are the people who are
Okay.
nominated by KZN or nominated by Eastern Cape.
Base and give.
That is the first information that emerges from the list of candidates who are nominated. And then if you go further, you will then see that in terms of these nominees for president, if I mention them in alphabetical order, I don't want to people to accuse me for anything,
It's
but I just want to
automatically.
mention them in alphabetical order.
Yes.
For president, you have Levitan Sean, and then for another president, you have Levax Andre. The other president is Peter Mlinau.
Yes.
And then Leviton is from Gauteng, Levax is from Western Cape, and then Peter is from Eastern Cape. And Levax is nominated, I'm saying Sean is nominated
Like is it?
by
Sean is the Northwest.
Northwest
Yes.
for this position.
Yes.
And then um,
Levax is
Levax
nominated
is
by
nominated by
Peter.
KZN and Peter by Eastern Cape.
Yes.
For Vice President 1, you have Leviton. Remember, I'm mentioning them in alphabetical order. Leviton is from Gauteng, obviously, but is nominated by Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape.
Then you have Lindon Gubani for Vice President 1, is from KZN, nominated by KZN.
Yes.
You have Peter, who's from Eastern Cape, nominated by Northwest,
Yes.
right? And then you go to your treasurer. There are 2 women, but in alphabetical order. It's oh, sorry, I skipped Deputy President 2. Deputy President 2, in alphabetical order, is Lefieri Carroll, nominated by Northwest and KZN. 2 of them nominated him. And then the second nominee is Sean Leviton, nominated by Gauteng. Then you have your treasurer, 2, in alphabetical order. Bothma, nominated from Gauteng, nominated by KZN. And then you have Nolan the Kumalo from KZN, nominated by Eastern Cape. General Secretary, in alphabetical order, Jeffries Cheney from Gauteng, nominated by KZN and Limpopo. And then you have Joe Mahomole from Limpopo, nominated by Eastern Cape. Then you have PR1, Chipunza from Eastern Cape, nominated by Eastern Cape. Fori Janin from Northern Cape, nominated by Limpopo. Then you have Leviton, Sean, from Gauteng, nominated by Northwest. Provincial Rep 2, 2 people. Boshoma, Northwest, nominated by Eastern Cape. Fori, again, from Northern Cape, nominated by KZN. And then the last, it's your Mavitela from Limpopo, but nominated by KZN. Just like Joe is not nominated by her own province. And then we have Women International Master Tale from Free State, nominated by Eastern Cape. Now, if you look at just this information and you structure it very well, you will then see what I said in terms of the slate. You have the Eastern Cape slate and the KZN slate. But the second thing, which is very important, is that who are the likable people? Okay, maybe let me put it this way. There are 8 women nominated, and of these 8, only 4 are required by the Constitution. 4 must fall. Which ones are going to fall? I don't know. Then you have 6 men who are nominated for the different positions, 6 men, 4 are needed, 2 must fall. We don't know which 2 will fall, right? And then the other thing is that if we were to use these 2 slates to analyze the first part of Chess South Africa, which is the management committee, which consists of the president, the 2 vice, the treasurer, and the general secretary. That is the first powerful part of it. From the first slate, or maybe the Eastern Cape slate in alphabetical order, you will have Eastern Cape represented in the management committee. Eastern Cape, Gauteng, Northwest, KZN, and Limpopo. In the management committee, you will have those 5 different provinces represented. But if we go to the second slate, which is the KZN slate, you are going to have Western Cape, KZN, and 3 Gauteng.
Okay, I see where you're
Then
going
you have
with this.
3 Gauteng.
Yeah.
Then now, you will then ask yourself, what then happens? Are we going back to the old system where we are saying the so-called major provinces must actually manage and run and govern Chess South Africa? Or are we saying we are all equal? And if you look further, that's why I'm saying if we have time, we can still go on with the interpretation so that
Yes,
whoever
yes.
is going to elect, you look at this thing and say, do I want to break away from the trend or do I want to enforce it or whatever is happening? So the other positions you see, the provincial reps are called minor positions, so to speak, because major decisions are also taken at the level of management committee. But then the management committee's decision must be subject to the executive committee, the executive board. But if you look at the executive board, it consists of 8 people. If the management committee takes a decision and subject that decision to the executive board, their decision will always go through because it's 5 against 3.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's 5 against 3. So
Yeah.
it tells you where power lies.
Mm.
And then if we were to look at balancing everything and making sure that we bring people with skill, you just look at the 2 factors alone. You will then know that, look, we really have to look at a bigger picture. Now, the last part that I wanted to talk about, which we may deal with maybe in the next interview if you have that time, is to look at profiling people and look at the skills they are bringing, which link up to my other part, which is who are the likable people who are nominated. In other words, you look at who has been nominated the most.
Okay.
If you only look at that trend, who has been nominated the most, you will see that Sean Leviton is topping the list.
Yes.
He has been nominated for position of president,
Vice
deputy president
President.
1, VP 1, VP 2, and provincial rep 4 times
Yeah.
by different structures. And then the second is your Mninawa Peter,
Mm.
who has been nominated 2 times,
The president and vice president.
president and vice president 1.
Yeah.
At that level, for the president's level, I'm saying, or at that level of who is the most likable,
Yeah.
already you have 2 people, and those 2 people are not sitting in the current executive. Then you ask yourself, why would people look at them that way? Maybe it's the skill they're bringing.
Mm.
Personally, I know them.
Yeah.
I personally know them. I served with Mninawa. I didn't serve with Sean, but I've been at the events where Sean organized
Yeah.
or was given the responsibility to organize,
Mm.
and so on. For now, I'm not saying much. Remember, Eddie, this part is not concluded. I still need to stretch it further. I said I'm giving information to those who are going to vote.
Yeah.
If they vote, they will decide what to do. And now, all of us, it's either you are nominated once or twice, including me. I'm nominated once,
Mm.
including myself. I'm nominated once, right?
Yes.
And then, if we were to look at across the board and then look at who brings what to Chess South Africa, then it will be the last part that really I want to elevate as a part of trying to tell the electorate, look at the people who are there. Are those that are likable bringing anything to Chess South Africa? We don't know. Are those that are nominated ones not bringing anything to Chess South Africa? We really don't know. We just need to unpack it and then give the people a chance to make their decision. But my last part will be uh, the electors, people who are electing. You must know that you must have the best interest of Chess South Africa at heart. Uh, Slates have killed a lot of organizations.
Mm.
It will continue to kill organizations.
How so? How do slates kill organizations? Because at
But the
least
first thing,
you'd wanna assume that if people come in the same slate, it means that they are able to work together, and then obviously you'll have a
that
united executive board. And if they come from different,
for
yeah,
maybe for a short while,
mm,
for a short while, when the reality kicks in, slates crumble.
yes,
When reality kicks in, slates crumble. For an example, you and I, Eddie, can say you are a coach, I'm a coach, right?
yes,
I'm talking about reality. You are a coach, I'm a coach.
mm,
You have an academy, I have an academy.
yes,
If we collude now, you and me, I just want to use us. I don't want to use other people.
mm,
Say we collude, we say, okay, I will influence Limpopo, you will influence Mpumalanga. Let's get in and run Chess South Africa, right?
yes,
But our purpose is to advantage our academies,
mm,
right? What will happen if, when we run there, your academy gets more projects than my academy? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? You are the judge.
yeah,
Then that link and partnership that we had to get into the executive
mm,
is going to explode. But it will explode in another, using other reasons. We are not going to tell people that we are fighting because now you, within the executive, you were able to mobilize a lot of support. You are marginalizing me.
mm,
I'm not going to bring it that way. I'm going to bring other things which are
a bed,
bad about you and so on.
yeah,
And then the whole expo doesn't work. You get what I mean? That's what I'm
yes,
saying. When the reality kicks in, the slates crumble. Because people who are in a slate are either friends who want to purpose the organization for their own,
mm-hmm.
or they are either collaborating for something else, or they are simply excited to be together because they like each other.
Oh yeah,
Because it's not always negative. It's not always negative. It's either we're excited, we just like each other.
yeah,
But when we get down to work, we find that yes, as Joe that I thought is going to work is no longer working. Then we find, or we don't have skills to do what is supposed to be done. The reality kicks in, and then the whole thing crumbles. That is why I'm saying, personally, I wouldn't love people to go by slate. That is why I said in my next presentation, I prefer, to the best of my knowledge, put the profiles of people who are there.
yes,
But thirdly, the other element which needs to be dealt with, which I'll bring in the next interview, is that for institutional memory and continuity, you don't have to change everything.
yeah,
Balance everything. Like I was saying, balance everything. There are members of Expo, current Expo, who have been there. They didn't have experience before. They now have. They know what it is to run an organization.
yes,
They know what are the challenges and the reality, as
mm.
opposed to the theory and things that they
that
first imagined
that they
is going
went
to be
in with,
rosy.
yes, yeah, mm.
Exactly. They now know what are tough things and what are things that are not tough, what are achievable, what is not achievable. So, looking onto my view of institutional memory, then you will then say, these people also needs to be there. But who? Bring a mix and see the innovators, which are new people, those with institutional memory who will then give guidance. How do we put a good mix? And that for me is going to be based on the skills and the attitude they are bringing to the organization.
Yes, okay. I think we're going to be getting the is it the CVs, the sports or chess CVs of the nominees very soon. It'll be nice to obviously have a look at that, and hopefully provinces will then go back to their to their regions for consultation, and obviously everyone will make an informed decision. And obviously we wish that
Yeah,
provinces execute the mandate of their council, of their constituency, instead of doing whatever they've been influenced to do by those colluders, or those people that are trying to take chess by the horns and run it to the ground. But Mr. Momolo, what else?
true.
What else did I also want to ask about? Oh yes, Limpopo, wasn't Limpopo supposed to be having elections sometime a while ago, or have they already had the elections, the provincial elections? Because I think they were meant to
No,
happen
no,
before. Mm,
no. According to the notice that was out, the elections were supposed to take place on the 24th of January.
yes, yes.
Due to other reasons, the elections did not take place. The matter is still under discussion in Limpopo. And then what the outcome will be, it all depends on the leaders in Limpopo.
Has a new date been set?
Sorry, the new date, not yet.
Not yet.
There are still discussions along those lines. That's why I'm saying the discussions are going on in Limpopo. And then whatever outcomes,
Mm.
it will be the product of the discussions in Limpopo.
Let me.
Because we prefer that the Limpopo issue, let it be left for Limpopo people to deal with.
Yeah.
And then we should not be maybe, what should I say, fall to the prey of pushing everything for the sake of elections,
Hey,
maybe for national
now
elections.
I mean, Limpopo carries a vote now, so there might be some influences from people in power to wanna have their.
Well, those are obvious tactics of elections, Eddie.
Hey,
Remember, elections by nature, it's the game of numbers.
yes, yes. Speaking of game of numbers,
Elections,
I think
Eddie,
that is the
whether you
reason
look
why
at
I
it this
saw.
way or that
Sorry,
way,
sorry. I had to mention something because I'm not sure I'm going to be doing another video soon on my own. Because I just have to mention that I actually laughed when I saw that Free State was forced into having an election because people need votes. They were like, East Free State, fix yourself. And they forced them to fix it. And they had online elections in the Free State. So, yeah.
well, that one I don't know, Eddie. It should be it should be your own interpretation. But I'm saying elections are a game of numbers.
Yeah.
Whether you look at it this way or that way, it's a game of numbers. If you don't have numbers, you can't win elections,
Yeah, yeah. And again, I think now that I'm speaking
right?
to you and your
And
influence
numbers
also.
emerge as a result of influence.
Yes, of course. But now, like the
Yeah.
question that was asked, I don't know whether we were speaking about the executive or was I naming the list of the executive of Limpopo, of Chess Limpopo, the provincial leadership. And I actually mentioned one name twice. Was it Mr. Bafi? What's Bafi's name? Who appeared as treasurer and he also appeared as the president. And somebody asked me if I made a mistake or is there something wrong there. That we have one person appear filling two positions because it doesn't say whether acting president or acting treasurer or treasurer.
Now, look, most of the things you can remember, I'm the deputy president in Chess Limpopo.
Yes.
And then for this interview, I've not been mandated by Chess Limpopo to speak about Chess Limpopo. I would wish you could call one of the leaders to come and say. But on that one of one person appearing twice, I can say something, but if the when you call the leader presents a different matter, you must understand that that was my own interpretation.
Okay.
The issue arose as following. If you check, the person who appears twice in one position is acting, on the other is not acting.
Is elected.
On the treasurer is not acting,
Or he was
is
elected.
elected as a treasurer.
Yes.
But then on the president is acting. Why did he come to act? It was because the executive committee itself of Chess Limpopo um, did not have the president at the time when he was requested to act, because the president was not there. And then we had several meetings or activities where the president was not there. And then, in terms of the constitution, if someone is not available for X number of times, the person can be
3
deemed to
times.
have resigned. But if that happens without valid reasons, and then, but whether there were valid reasons or not, but the position doesn't have anyone who's doing it. Naturally, I could have acted
With the
as the
president.
president because I was a vice.
Mm.
But I said, okay, we all agreed that we need someone to act. But instead of me acting, I said we better put someone else, a member of executive, so that if we were to talk about continuity and also succession planning, we should begin to be doing it now. Because for your information, Eddie, I'm in the coming elections of Cheslin Pope, I'm not standing at all.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
So I'm not standing. What would it have meant if I acted and I take all the two powers? I will still be doing two positions myself. I will be the president and the deputy, right? But instead of me taking those two positions, we said somebody else must act, and we all agreed that the treasurer must act. That's why it is. It was an agreement of the executive committee of Cheslin to have the person acting as the president while holding the position of a treasurer.
All
It
right.
was not out of any malice or ill intention. It was purely to have the executive properly closed. But remember, I said I'm not mandated to speak on these matters of Chesley for now, although I'm the vice president. But if you follow protocol, you must speak to your leaders before you speak on any matter.
On behalf of.
But I
Yes.
think because this one I know it should not be used for any negative connotations. It should not be used for that. Because the real information which I know, it was done with good intentions.
Yes. And Mr. Mahomole, one last thing before we obviously end this. Was very interested in getting your opinion on the crisis in Zimbabwe, the AYCC issue, and what went down. Like, what view do you have? Obviously, there's a lot of theories. I mean, there's a lot of stories coming out. There's a lot of individuals that are being blamed. I've seen Mr. Carol Fieri as the treasurer was also obviously being blamed for his role in some. And there's Mr. Vikima Gu, who was also again who had a role to play, and he also has some blame to carry. And there is also Jeanette Mabitsela, who's also. And there's some that is even going back to Zimbabwe, saying that Zimbabwe itself was not ready to host such a big event. It was not prepared, and that's why things like this happen. It did not only happen to South Africa, but it happened to other countries. Kenya apparently also had a bit of some issues. But I haven't heard one person saying, Andre Livak, so maybe as the president. Again, I don't know. What is your view in this whole thing? Who do you think should be blamed? Who should take responsibility of them? Because again, it's very concerning that South Africa as a structure has not come forward to say we take full responsibility of this issue. We are handling it. This is what we are going to be to the public in general, and just. But now it seems like they're saying we maybe not as a structure, but maybe individuals in the structure are responsible. Maybe, may I hear your view on this?
Well, I can only give my view as somebody who observes from a distance
Yes.
without having full facts. But I was participating as a council member where a special meeting was called to brief the council about the situation. Well, first, the situation is not desired at all. That's the first thing. People cannot be frustrated in a foreign country. It's even worse. Right. But how it came about, I can only speak from what we were given as information, that the payments were done late. That one was confirmed. It was official that the payments were done late. How the payment came to be done late, according to the information we received, was that the invoices were received late. And then, um, what were the contingency plan to solve it? There was quite issues that the manager on the ground is actually on it, but the other executive committee members are helping, especially the VP2 was responsible, which is my dear friend Vicky Magu. I call him comrade. He also calls me comrade. That's why I'm gladly saying my dear friend,
Dear friend, yeah.
right? They were in charge of it. But why it was not solved, it really remains a mystery because some of the things maybe they are difficult to solve. For an example, what I know from my experience, because I I had during my tenure as president and even then, we had teams going out.
Mm.
We also, in terms of international transfer of money, it's not like you, Eddie. You give me my account, I pay now, I can clear it now, and then you get it.
Yes.
If you cross the money, if you take the money across the border, your your reserve bank is involved.
Mm.
Your other country's reserve bank
It's
is
also
also
involved.
involved
Yes.
to clear those transactions. Otherwise, there will be easy money laundering.
Oh, yes.
So the transfer will take longer. You cannot, the minimum you can have, if you are lucky, is 4 days. If you are lucky.
If you're lucky,
I've
okay.
done it. I've done it with Kenya itself when we sent the team there. I was physically in Ghana with the team when our money that we paid 4 days ago, when I
Had not
arrived
cleared.
in Ghana, the money was not yet cleared. And then the negotiations we had with the Ghana Chess Federation is to show them the, 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 the payment slips,
Yes.
which shows that the money left 4 days ago, 5 days ago. They had to vouch for us to guarantee, talk to the hotels, because hotels need money. They don't need your weight. They need the
Yeah,
money.
they're not making
If they
profit.
don't trust you, they are not going to take you for your weight. It's up to
Yes.
you.
It's a
Remember, the
choice.
bank and the federations are two different things.
Yes.
Us in South Africa, we are just South Africa, but the banks are your FNB, Standard Bank, and so on. If you don't have a relationship with Standard Bank as a federation or FNB also, if you go to talk to them as a federation, they will say, no, I want money in the bank. But if you have a relationship with them, they will say, okay, we trust you, we serve. You see, when you make the money to cross the country, you need more time to do it. The only thing that, from a council point of view, I did not understand was why transfer the money so in such short notice.
Yeah.
Yes, because we know by processes that money will not reach the next country. That is why, Eddie, you need your people with institutional memory and skills, and they've faced the situation before, so that
Yes.
you are able to say, look, guys, this one is not going to work. Even if you even if you think you are brilliant on it, it's not going to work. Because some of us believe that because in South Africa I can transfer money to AD in short notice, I can do it to another person
But Vicky
across the
Magu is
border. It's
there.
not going to work.
But Vicky Magu was there. Vicky Magu has, I mean, has been traveling. I don't know whether he hasn't been working within the administration. He's only been a beneficiary of the travels. He's never because if you were speaking about institutional memory and obviously someone who has had the experience, you'd expect that he's someone who was aware of the delays of such the transactional delays that you've explained. And as someone who's
True. No, you are right. Vicky, with regard to the international trips, I think he is very experienced. We must be honest. He is very experienced. But why this one did not work with him being in charge, both physically in charge to arrange the trip,
yeah,
I really don't know. But then, if you, Eddie, you interviewed both Vicky and the treasurer,
yes,
and that they gave you the version.
exactly, yeah, they
And
did,
then you also interviewed the parents. They also gave their own version, right?
yeah,
And then if if you judge their versions, you would know that the only summary you can have, there was either sleep on the job or pure negligence or a trumped up arrangement. Those are the simple things you can conclude. And then if you sleep on the job, oh, on such a big project, especially across the country, what then should happen?
shit, hey, that's okay. But then what is,
Yes.
hmm, what
If
then?
you then if you then
Hypothetically
trump
speaking,
up issues that you can do them your way all the time and you don't get it, it means your way was not well thought of with a country that you are transacting with.
mm,
For an example, if I could have done it with, say, Sri Lanka, I'm going to Sri Lanka, I can pay them and go talk to them and they talk to their banks.
yeah,
You succeed that way. But you don't do it with Zimbabwe, but still expect to succeed. You are still sleeping on the job.
okay,
You are still sleeping on the job because you have not done your due diligence in terms of negotiations with the organization, with Zimbabwe, because you don't know what the situation is like in Zimbabwe. It's not the same as Sri Lanka.
mm,
So you should have done that job and realized, okay, my way will not work when it comes to Zimbabwe. Therefore, let's do the right thing.
but then now what steps should be taken by Chess South Africa in this instance, in your view? Now, if you were in charge of Chess South Africa, what would you do? How would you handle this situation?
Well, on serious matters, you really have to discipline people. There is no way out.
Hmm.
Remember, when you discipline somebody, it's not because you don't like them.
Yeah.
You want them to learn. You know, by profession and by training, I'm a teacher, although I went to other levels of administration. When we punish kids at school,
Mm.
it's not because we don't like them.
Mm.
We want them to learn a good habit on how to do things. So when you don't punish people because you feel for them, you are actually misleading them.
And again,
You are making them to repeat the same thing many times because there is no
there's
consequence for
when
it.
you besides that, I think there's also
What
this
could
other
have
aspect
happened?
of punishing a person. I think there's another
Sorry?
aspect of it. I think there's another side to it as well. As in, when you are seen to be punishing someone who is believed to have done wrong, you sort of gain confidence from those who are depending on you as well.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly, Eddie. Imagine, I just want to give this analogy of teachers
Mm.
and the parents. Look, a child will not be happy when he's punished by a teacher. But
Yes.
if that child behaves well and get good grades, the parents are happy. And remember, the parents are the parents of the same child
Yeah.
that have punished. But if I don't punish this child and the child doesn't get good grades, the parents are angry with me because I'm not doing the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
I must understand that relationship. Even if we serve together in the organization and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, I must be punished. in order to make the community that we serve to be happy,
Mm, mm, yes.
so that we always bring out the best out of ourselves.
And you show the
Remember, there
commitment
is
to. Mm,
yeah, we can't fail on that one. Maybe maybe I'm very passionate about it. Maybe because I'm a teacher,
yeah.
I learned that I know it works.
Yeah.
And then, but even in my management responsibilities that I had at different levels of education, those who are given responsibilities and they are not doing it well, you empower and you also punish.
Yeah.
There is carrot and stick. With the carrot, I'll give you incentives to work well. With stick, I punish you negatively.
Yeah.
If I were to howl you before disciplinary hearing, let it be. If I were to suspend you, let it be. If I were to dismiss you, let it be.
Yeah, because
That is
again,
stick.
it's just like it speaks again on your commitment as a leader. Are you more committed to the people that you're serving with, or are you more committed to the people that you are serving? Because if you're more committed to the people you are serving with, you will not punish them because they are you value them more than you value the people that they have done a disservice to.
Exactly. So, I mean, that is why we're saying, look, when the train is not moving,
Hmm.
you go and check who's the driver.
Yeah.
That's the first person you howl at. Even if it is not the driver that has a problem,
Yeah.
you find that it's somebody who must have cleaned the wheels and but you first go howl at the driver, so
Yeah.
that the driver must find out while the train is not moving. You know,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, is the arrangements of life. Once you are given a responsibility to lead, you can't abdicate it to your subordinates when the performance is not done.
Yeah.
Your overall responsibility is to make sure that those you gave responsibility, you have responsibility under your leadership,
And they
they
fulfill it.
do what they are supposed to do. If they don't, you must be frank enough to face them in the eye and say, look, you are now wrecking the ship.
Mm.
You are now wrecking the ship. If we are friends, I will say, my friend, I would rather have a beer with you outside than to have you wreck the ship that I lead, that I shepherd. I will keep our friendship, but on the job you can't get it. For us to maintain both, perform.
Of
If
course.
if he or she doesn't understand, you say perform for me. Don't be afraid to say that. Perform
Perform
for
for me,
me
my
because I
friend.
want to
Yes.
perform. Perform for me because I want to perform.
Yeah. No, Mr. Mahomole, no. Thank you very much for your time. Anyway, I feel like, yeah, like you've said, if we get everyone's curriculum vitae or profile in terms of what they can offer, the structure, then we can have another discussion around that. Yeah, we look forward to that. And again, we wish to keep your institutional memory within Chess South Africa because again, the relationship. Because again, I think that with leaders who have been there, I think they've made relationships with other countries, with other structures that must be continued. Instead of starting new relationships with others again, we can grow on the old relationships and then again grow forward in that way. So yeah, thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure, Eddie. Thank you so much. But please, I would love another interview where I set other records straight and then we also look at the last part of analysis of our situation so that we help those who want to vote properly.
Yeah.
Especially on who brings what. Especially those, all of us
Yes.
who are nominated, who brings what to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which people mix can we pick
Mm.
so that we have a good, maybe a better expo? I don't know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Damage is done, so I guess I believe in. Ah, snap, it says, are you sure? Did I say yes? I'm sure.